Does anybody else remember a time where there used to be a whole bunch of crazy, intense, and scary dinosaur media out there, most particularly between the late 90s and early 2000s? I mean, sure, dinosaurs have always been around in movies and games, and even dating back to like the 1930s when King Kong was beating the shit out of a bunch of them in stop motion, and of course in hundreds of movies since. And it's no surprise why. Dinosaurs are this elusive, terrifying, and forgone entity that we can only imagine what it would have been like to see one because they've been extinct for millions of years. And as much as paleontologists and scientists try to figure out exactly how these animals operated back before they were blasted into oblivion, our only real visual representation of them are from fictional media. But there was an explosion of dinosaur media back in the 90s, and it's no surprise why with that either, because obviously we need to talk about Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg's film based on the novel by Michael Crichton. This movie single-handedly revolutionized filmmaking and special effects and CGI, and still to this day holds up incredibly well and is probably one of the greatest movies ever made. And I'm trying to say that without bias because to me it is, but like objectively, Jurassic Park did so much for the filmmaking world, and it seriously was a cultural landmark that is still appreciated and respected to this day. And of course, when one movie does really well, there's going to be a lot of knockoffs and a lot of imitations, but I think what Jurassic Park did ultimately was a good thing because we got so much dinosaur media that came out afterwards. It's kind of incredible. What I want to talk about are the Carnosaur movies. Okay, so if you remember these are cheesy, low-budget, kind of B-movie territory, but they were kind of like the R-rated Jurassic Park. These were definitely horror movies that used the dinosaurs as monsters and definitely showed the gore, the carnage, and the brutality that they could bring, whereas Jurassic Park was kind of a movie for everybody. Carnosaur was definitely only for adults, although as a kid seeing this cover in the video store and loving Jurassic Park, I made my parents rent it, and I have never really been the same since. Also, a lot of weird dinosaur shit came out in the 90s afterwards. Like, do you guys remember stuff like Tammy and the T-Rex? You know, the one where Denise Richards' boyfriend's brain gets put into the body of a T-Rex. By the way, Denise Richards, at this point in time, kind of made me wish I was a T-Rex. Also, Paul Walker plays the T-Rex, so for any of you Fast and Furious fans, I don't know, don't watch this movie. There was also like Theodore Rex, and there was all these weird dinosaur movies. The weirdest one, though, is definitely the Super Mario Brothers movie, the adaptation of the video game. I don't know why, but the Super Mario Brothers movie gives me this weird feeling. It's like this dystopian world with strange dinosaur people, Goombas, and everything about it was about dinosaurs. Like Koopa was actually really a dinosaur, and they made Yoshi like legitimately an animatronic dinosaur, and like the whole thing was about dinosaurs, which is really strange because when you play Super Mario Brothers, I mean, sure, you got Yoshi and stuff in there, and I guess Bowser is kind of adjacent to a dinosaur. He's more like a dragon, but the whole movie was like about dinosaurs. I was just like, what is going on with this thing? Then you had the Flintstones movie around this time as well, and just all of these strange dinosaur movies. You had the TV show Dinosaurs, which was, again, using puppets and animatronics, and it was a show that would deal with strange, serious social issues like drug use and sexual discrimination and like all these strange, high-concept ideas, but done in a kid's show with dinosaurs. Also, I don't know if you guys know about the final episode of Dinosaurs, but it literally ends with the entire world, going into the Ice Age and everyone dies. Spoiler, by the way. But anyways, I say all of this to build up to the real dinosaur project I've been thinking about lately, and one that has haunted my nightmares for many years, and that is the Dino Crisis video game on the original PlayStation. So as much as I know about the behind the scenes of this game, which isn't a ton, but I know the same creator of the original Resident Evil games was involved with creating Dino Crisis, and it makes complete sense because this game plays like the original Resident Evil games, and also is just as terrifying, if not more so. I would say more so. At least it felt that way when I was a kid. And what an ingenious game for a horror game or a survival game. Like, you just go to an island that's infested with dinosaurs. And I liked the idea of all these other dinosaur projects that didn't have to be like Jurassic Park, because Dino Crisis is basically Jurassic Park. You go to an island that has dinosaurs on it, but they were able to take the liberties of making it a horror game, because dinosaurs on an island is not like so copyrighted by Jurassic Park. Anybody could have that idea, and I'm really glad that they did. Also, I think some of the limited graphics at the time also helped this feel more scary. Like, there's a lot of times where the backgrounds are completely blacked out, or because you can't explore everything perfectly like an open world, you know, you're kind of stuck in particular locations, or it feels a little bit more claustrophobic because of that. And I think though those things really helped the game just thrive in that sort of horror genre. You got to run from dinosaurs, fight dinosaurs. It had a pretty cool storyline. You had a cool protagonist. And even the title screen of the game, which is just the velociraptor claw with a little blood stain at the bottom, just press start. It just feels so ominous before you even start the game. And I thought the graphics were really good for the time, and Dino Crisis was one of those games that I just really, really enjoyed because, well, I was a kid and I loved dinosaurs, but it gave me that kind of horror fix that I think obviously as an adult I appreciate a lot more. I think as a kid, I think I did enjoy being scared, but I didn't really understand that I enjoyed being scared. Whereas now as an adult, I'm a full-blown like hardcore like horror movie fan. Like, sign me up, you know, survival games. Like, you know, I just played through all of Alien Isolation. Love that shit. Give me all of it. But as a kid, I didn't really know. I was like, oh, cool, dinosaurs. But there was that horror aspect of the game that really, really made it feel intense, and it made it feel scary playing it at 1 a.m. And I miss when games like this existed. Now, I know that there's been talk of a remake or a reboot of the Dino Crisis games, and, you know, since they remade things like Resident Evil 4, you would think that maybe that would be on the horizon. But it's one of those things that every 6 months to a year, you hear some kind of information about a Dino Crisis reboot, but it never actually happens. And I don't know why. There were also other cool dinosaur games around the same time, like Turok, which was a first-person kind of game, which I don't remember the storyline of this game as much as I do Dino Crisis. All I remember is kind of walking around the jungle, and you know, there were dinosaurs. I don't really remember much, but I remember liking it. That's what I can say. Now, one thing that gave me hope is that recently they did release a trailer for a survival horror game set in the Jurassic Park universe where you are stuck on the island and have to figure out a way off. This is great. This really excited me. Number one, because it's dinosaurs. Number two, because it has the Jurassic Park banner across it. Well, you know they're actually going to be putting time, effort, and energy into this. It's a big property, or at least you would hope so. And the fact that because of finishing Alien Isolation recently, I kind of want another vibe that's like that, and I feel like this is going in the right direction. But my hope with this is that this game will come out and actually be good, and be good enough that the idea of creating more dinosaur media will begin to expand once more. Because I think the entire point of me making this video, besides reminiscing on Dino Crisis and some other cool dinosaur stuff from the past, is that where has it gone? I mean, sure, recently we did have the Jurassic World movies, but they were kind of, you know, meh. It seems to be not as captivating, and there's not as much variety as there used to be. Like in that 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, where we had all of these different dinosaur movies and video games, and, you know, things could go beyond just Jurassic Park. Well, that just doesn't seem to be here anymore, and I don't know why, because dinosaurs are awesome and can be utilized in a lot of different ways to tell a story, especially in the horror genre, which I think, you know, is the direction that it should probably lean into. I would hate to think that the dinosaur genre just had its time and it's never going to come back. A lot of times genres kind of phase out for a while and come back. I mean, even if you look at Godzilla, which I know Godzilla is not a dinosaur, but the fact that Godzilla, you know, had a great movie come out, and now everybody is kind of rallying around the giant kaiju genre and hoping for all of that to kind of explode again and get back more into the mainstream. I think that's really cool, and it might segue a place for slightly smaller gigantic lizards to maybe have a comeback as well. And I know this one is a long shot, but I kind of want it to happen. Look, I love Jurassic Park. I love that movie. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. But the movie is not completely accurate to the novel. And the novel is way crazier and more intense than the movie was. And so I don't want a remake of the movie of Jurassic Park, but I would love somebody to make an attempt at readapting the book and adapt it accurately so that we could get some of the intense craziness that happens towards the end of that book. Like, a lot of the characters that survive the movie do not survive the book, like Ian Malcolm and Hammond. And look, I don't want to see Jeff Goldblum die, but like, the book is just pretty crazy, man. But I know that could probably never be done because even the idea of making a movie called Jurassic Park, it would just be interpreted as a remake and everybody would hate it. And look, I'm somebody myself that I don't really like remakes of movies that often, but there are some good ones out there. And like I said, it wouldn't be a remake of the original movie. It would be an adaptation of the book version. But, we'll see what happens with that. Anyways, I wanted to make this video just to rant because I remember being younger and seeing so much really cool dinosaur media everywhere, whether it came to movies or video games or what have you. And now I don't see any of it. All we get is one shitty Jurassic World movie every 3 to 4 years with Chris Pratt holding his hand out to a raptor. And it's just not what it used to be, man. So give us some Dino Crisis. Give us a Jurassic Park accurate version. Give us some Turok. You can keep Tammy and the T-Rex, I guess. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Do you guys remember the era where dinosaurs were everywhere? Or should I just accept that the meteor hit a long time ago and that time is past? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. This is just kind of a rant video. Let me know if you like stuff like this. If you like me just ranting about random stuff that I remember. Or if you don't, then maybe I won't do it again. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.